Hello.
Your grandma owned a wild tiger.
Yes, I didn't say that in the previous podcast. I forgot about it, but when she was in Russia, she had a tiger. She just fed the wild tiger from the Siberia.
And was she living in Siberia at the time? The Russians had recently relocated her.
Yes.
How do you get relocated? I imagine they arrest you or something. Like, do you know the story of how that happened?
If like relocated from Poland or inside the Russia, because inside the Russia they were also relocating people from cities to cities. Depends on their job. If in another city they needed engineer and you're engineer, they're gonna send you to another city and don't ask you for permission. Yeah.
And how do they do that? Do you know? Do they knock on your door and say, "Come with me right now"? Do they say, "Report to the station"? Like, how do you know the
I
process?
don't know how it works exactly, but I think they knock on the door probably.
And then, so one city needs an engineer, and that whole city does not have an engineer. They will
Hmm.
just take an engineer from a different city and put them there.
Yeah,
That's
but not if they're Russian, only if they're like Polish.
The Russians owned Poland before World War II, or did they own territory that had
Part of
Polish
Poland,
people?
part of Poland. Before World War Two, no, before World War One actually. Some part of Poland belonged to the Russia, some belonged to Germany and Austria also.
Before World War One, the nation of Poland did not exist as its own nation.
Yes,
It did. Yes, it did not.
it didn't exist.
It
Yeah.
didn't exist. So that means that part of Poland was in the Russian Empire, so therefore you could just move the Polish around how you wanted because they're in your land, right?
Yes, I
Is
think
that
so.
what permitted her family being moved around?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of terrible, man. That would suck. Like just getting a knock on your door saying, come over, and you're going to a different city in Siberia.
Yeah, but if she was German, they would put her in like a working. Do you know what's Auschwitz?
Yes, concentration camp.
Concentration camp. Yes, they have them too in Russia, but only for the enemies because Polish people were like not that bad enemies.
They weren't. Okay. Are these gulags?
What?
Do you know the word gulag?
No.
Gulag. It's like a Russian concentration camp. Is that
Ah, yes, it's something like this.
something like this?
Yeah.
Was your grandma in a gulag?
No, she wasn't.
Was any of your family?
I don't think so.
I
No.
don't think so. So now it's starting to make sense because your grandma's parents were captured by the Russians
Yeah.
in conflict
Yes.
in before World War One,
Yeah.
perhaps.
I'm not sure when exactly.
Are you aware of this whole story, or does your grandma kind of?
Oh well, when she speaks about it, she gets very emotional actually, so it's sometimes hard to speak with her about it. And my dad also doesn't like speaking about it too much.
Or to you?
Yeah, it's like the new life, so the past that was difficult doesn't matter anymore actually.
That's an interesting thing with the Venezuelans here in Lima. I find it a very interesting topic to talk about, but none of them are interested because it seems like if you live through a traumatic experience outside of your power, like
Yeah,
the nation, it's not something they like to. Here in Peru in the 90s,
yeah, they rather forget about it.
they'd rather forget about it. And then people like me are very interested in learning, so it's a very conflict.
Yes, yes, but no, some talk about it.
Some do.
The same people that were on a war, some don't like talking about it, but some are, I don't know, strong enough to do it, I think.
Yeah, strong enough.
Yeah.
Was your grandma, did she tell you anything about her experiences like that?
Mm, well, she was just treated very without any respect from Russian people.
Her townsfolk, the people, her neighbors,
Yes, yes, neighbors, people that she worked with, she studied, and if she had a problem with like her coworker, she couldn't do anything about it because the boss was always on the other person's side. If she was Russian.
they were very racist towards the Polish.
Yes.
Is that a common attitude amongst Russians, perhaps even today, or is that like an old World War II, World War One thing? Like, what's?
No, I think before it was much worse actually. Now it's better.
Do you know why?
Young people are like more aware that it doesn't matter who you are, like by nation, I think, in Russia.
Yeah, it's like our generation across the whole globe has like a common culture from the internet. I don't know if you,
Yes,
yeah,
but in Russia they don't have like the social media now,
no,
so no, the Instagram, Facebook, nothing
they
works.
don't have Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, YouTube.
That's China. That's China, bro.
Yeah, but it's all American, and America is their enemy. They don't buy anything. They don't use social media. They don't have iPhones even there.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And you were born in Kyrgyzstan in Bishkek.
Yes.
That's so crazy. How, you left when you were like 1 month old.
Not 1 month. I think I was a bit older, like 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So nothing you have memory of.
No.
And then your parents were obviously living in Kyrgyzstan at the time. How long were they living there?
My mom, whole life, I think.
Oh,
She was
shit.
born there. And my dad, I'm not sure where he was born. Or there or somewhere in Russia.
Your one of your parents is Polish, or
Yeah.
one is Russian.
Yeah.
Your dad is Russian,
No, dad is Polish.
and your mum is Russian.
Yes.
And where is your mum from in Russia, or did she just get moved
No,
around?
I said she spent her whole life in Kyrgyzstan until she met my dad, and then they moved to Poland. And then
Born in Kyrgyzstan.
yeah, she was born in Kyrgyzstan.
Wild.
Wow.
When I was in Kyrgyzstan in Bishkek, I met some Russian people, and I was struggling to understand how you were born, raised in Kyrgyzstan, but you are Russian.
But because it was part of Soviet Union, so many Russians came there.
Just for fun.
I don't know if there was when the Poland was part of Russia or of Germany. There also a lot of Germans living in Poland, right? Because it's becoming part of a bigger country, so people move, look for job opportunities. Last many years, so
It's not like a foreign territory, it's just integrated as part of the nation.
yes.
How about that? That
And
must be so
they did it very drastically, so they just destroyed the culture of Kyrgyzstan, didn't allow them to be in government, in any high position jobs. Yeah.
Do you know much about the Russian effect on Kyrgyzstan? Is that something you've learned?
No, not very well. I don't know much about it, but I know that now it's very different and that they allow more of Kyrgyzstan culture there, and they have a Kyrgyz president as well. And the Kyrgyz language is now real language in there,
Yes.
not just Russian. So it's growing better.
Was the Kyrgyz language not permitted back in the day?
I don't know. I think maybe it was permitted, but people ostracized it a lot. They didn't accept people that speak Kyrgyz.
So the Russians took all institutions of power. There was no Kyrgyz who was in parliament.
Yes.
And then I imagine they would have been very strict on learning Russian. They wouldn't have allowed Kyrgyz to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what else they did to the local Kyrgyz to suppress them?
The thing is that many Kyrgyz people decided to live in the wild when it happened. And then the society in the city was 90% Russian people and only 10% of Kyrgyz people.
So the Russians, you have Bishkek.
Yeah.
The Russians take Bishkek, and now 90% of Bishkek is Russian.
Now it's less actually. Now it's more Kyrgyz people.
Before,
Yeah, before it was like this.
they just took the city. The Russian
The whole
government.
country.
Do you think 90%? Do you think all of those 90% of Russians chose to go to Bishkek?
I think they have a choice because that would be strange if the country, who was it in there, Stalin maybe, would just make people go to another country to live in there.
Isn't that what he did to your grandma?
Yeah, but it's kind of enemy. It's a different country that you try to win, not your own citizens.
Did Stalin or whoever was in charge move his own citizens around Russia, didn't he? Or did he only move like foreign Russians?
Yeah,
like
I don't know,
Tatar and
but
whatever?
I don't think so, to be honest. I think I don't know. Yeah, hard to say.
There's so many things which I find so curious because in how many years we don't know, Bishkek became 90% Russian. I would wonder if every single one of those people had a choice, or just one day one of the soldiers you see on the street knocks on your door and says, "Come with me." That would shit.
I don't know, but I can ask my mom.
Yeah,
She probably knows.
I'd be so curious.
Yeah.
When I first went to Europe, it was fascinating because all of the history I'd read, I was there. Like a guy says, "Yeah, man, in World War II, the post office was hit by a bomb." Growing up in Sydney, nothing's ever been hit by a bomb.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, in Europe, everything, especially in Poland, Germany, a lot of history.
Is anything left of Poland after World War II, or is
And
everything
Warsaw was destroyed completely.
completely?
Yeah.
Like not a single building.
Maybe a single
Maybe
or
a
two,
single or two.
but it was a very big, like battle in there, I think. And Krakow, my city, it was all good. It's like all the buildings are safe.
Yeah.
From 19th century, it's all the same.
So Warsaw was the capital, perhaps?
Still is, yeah.
Still is.
Yes.
So why do I know Krakow instead of Warsaw without being educated in Poland? Why is Krakow the first thing I'm familiar with?
I don't know, but it's very good because Krakow is much better than Warsaw.
Maybe that's the reason. Is it more touristy? Is it nicer?
Yeah, it just has a very nice old town with all those buildings from 18th century, 19th century, and yeah, it's just people are very rude as well in Warsaw.
Rude.
Yeah.
Capital city type snobbery.
Yes.
How can they be snob when their entire city was destroyed?
It was a long time ago. Now people
forget.
Yeah, people forget.
They do. And is Warsaw just like a government city now, or is it still like a life that's still like a place?
No, it's a place. It's a place to you can have a party there. There are many tourists as well.
Oh. It's completely recovered, so to say.
Yeah, but they built the new buildings, but they are very modern. Like very high skyscrapers.
Are they like ugly modern, or are they just like normal skyscrapers?
Normal, but for me it's ugly.
Yeah. You are from Krakow?
Yes, Krakow.
So you see beautiful buildings inspired by art rather than cost effectiveness.
Yes, with a lot of different decorations from a long time ago, and not just gray and blue and like simple patterns.
Very ugly.
Yeah.
Poland, how long has it had like an identity? Like, because Poland, the nation, the last time it existed was like the 1600s or the 1700s.
When it was, I think it was 18th century, the end of the 18th century.
So from end of the 18th century, let's just call it 1800s to 1945, there was no nation.
1918, that's the year the World War One started, right?
18 finishes World War One.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I'm not sure what year exactly.
So maybe over 100 years, Poland did not have a nation.
Yes.
Did the Polish, without a nation for 100 years, do people lose the idea that they are a nation?
They should have, I think, but somehow Polish people were believing a lot in the country, in their power. They were trying to get the independence back all the time. They were like gathering somewhere, planning how to do it, and we were learning Polish as well because it was forbidden. Yeah, and they tried to like destroy Polish culture, but Polish survived, even though it was many years, 123 years. Yeah.
123.
Yeah.
That's very impressive that after 123 years of just constant oppression, you still believe who you are.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm not sure if now it will be the case. People are not so patriotic anymore, I think.
Is Poland kind of being absorbed by that internet culture?
Yeah, I think like everywhere else.
Like everywhere, yeah. In Poland, in Krakow, if you're like, that's kind of retarded, would people be upset at you?
Why?
Because you said the word retarded.
Retarded? What does it mean? I said that?
No. That's a poor example. Retarded is a word that was used to describe people with mental disability, and then it became like a mean word to use.
So it's like you say to someone that he's crazy a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, it's like a word. Not even crazy. They don't have to be crazy. They just have to have trouble up here
Okay.
in whatever way that's expressed. So I
Okay.
think it was used as a genuine word back in the day, and then it got absorbed into being offensive, like how saying someone is gay became offensive, even if they're gay. Like
Is it offensive?
man, some people were. If you're like the gay guy, they'll be like,
But if you say that to someone straight who doesn't like gay people, they might get upset. This what you mean?
it's just like, are you aware of this culture of sensitivity that comes from the internet?
Sensitivity. That people are too, I don't know, vulnerable to something?
Something like that. Are you
Maybe.
aware of that whole?
No.
Is that not in Poland? In Poland, not.
A little bit maybe, but many people also use their own brain.
Yeah.
I know that some things are maybe not that bad, let's say.
Maybe that's a good point. Poland internet. Most Polish people just absorb Polish internet.
Absorb.
Absorb like
To some people, yes, but I think it's not that bad, like probably in America, I would say, or Asia,
yeah.
where they spend just all day scrolling on TikTok. I saw some people like this. Yeah. I think Polish people are not that bad.
Good. So Poland kind of avoided that whole wave of whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, Polish people are not stupid. That's the thing.
Polish people must be so intelligent. If you're a Polish person who is like your family is still alive today, bro, you earned that. You did not scroll TikTok for 4 generations and survive. You killed a man to survive if you're still here.
Yeah, maybe it has something to do with the fact that there was so many wars like all the time in Poland, and they had to survive all the time. They had to plan how to win and stuff. Maybe it somehow make them know how to live proper.
That's a common sentiment with the. It's a very immigrant thing. Lots of immigrants from nations who have been very badly attacked, destroyed, slaughtered, whatever. They tend to be like really smart. They come into a country with no money, they switch on, they start a business, and then they're super okay.
Yeah.
Poland must have that kind of thing in it, even though they're still in Poland. It's kind of like, fuck, we're still here. We survived. Like,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's so many crazy things in history.
I couldn't imagine that. Australia has 200 years of being a country. 200 years.
It's not long history.
Nothing.
But do you learn also history from other countries when you study in school, or?
Yes. So you can choose to learn history, and if you choose to learn history, you have a range of options for the different subjects that your teacher will choose for you. So I did ancient history as a topic. I learned about the ancient Greeks.
Okay.
I learned about an ancient Greek politician. And archaeology. And then I did modern history, and we learnt about the Russian Revolution of the early 1900s, World War One. We learnt about Tsar Nicholas and his royal family, and I think the Industrial Revolution. But we do the Australian history is very much European focused because 200 years ago we were there.
Yes, and then you were in World War II and One, but you'll fight on different fronts, not in Australia probably.
Correct. So in World War One, we fought in North Africa and we fought in Turkey.
Okay.
And in World War Two, we fought in the Pacific. So the Japanese were coming down. You have Australia, and then right on top of Australia is a chain of islands, Indonesia. Papua New Guinea, Philippines, Southeast Asia, and Australians were fighting right there.
Mm-hmm.
So Australia was attacked once by one bomb that killed 7 people in Darwin.
By who?
The Japanese.
Whoa.
So they got us. They got 7 of us.
Seven. In Poland, I think millions of people died, and you have only 7.
One bomb.
One bomb. Wow.
Fuck, man. How many bombs would have been dropped on Poland in the last 150 years?
We can check it, but
Let's check it, bro. Are you using ChatGPT?
No.
Bro, I don't use Google anymore. Literally every question I have, I ask, and it just answers right now.
I think it's too easy, too comfortable.
Oh, bro, it's too. You don't need to know things anymore, bro. You just chat GPT and it tells you.
Okay, I Google it. How much bombs fall in Poland? They don't know how much, but they say tens of thousands.
Damn.
In 1939, it was 630 tons of bombs.
How much does a bomb weigh?
I don't know.
What the fuck is 630 tons?
Sounds like a lot.
Sounds heavy.
Yeah.
If you were to say, what weighs 630 tons? I'd say, I don't know what weighs 1 ton.
Maybe elephant.
A car? A house?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. They say 630 tons, and it's like, what the fuck is a ton? Why don't you just say the number? What are we weighing the bombs for? I don't know how much a bomb weighs.
I don't know.
Fair enough. But that's insane, man.
But I think it's hard to count all the bombs if there's so much of them.
It's impossible to count. Now, who the fuck was counting?
Yeah, sometimes people find some unexploded bombs in forests in Europe. And it's like very dangerous because some people are stupid or curious and they touch it and then something that happens to them.
Is that happening in Poland?
Lately, not anymore, but before it was a problem actually.
All the stupid people that survived worked themselves out that way.
How to say? It's like a natural
selection.
Selection, exactly.
Yes, definitely. That's interesting, man. I'd love to go to Poland one day. Is it a vibrant culture? Is it like, how would you describe Polish? Like, if I would describe the Kurdish, I would say they're extremely hospitable. If I would describe the Israelis, I'd say they're extremely familiar. They love their town, their folk. If I would describe Australians, I'd say we're very relaxed, comfortable, chill. If I would describe Londoners, I'd say they walk fast.
Okay.
If you would describe Polish.
I think Polish people are very intelligent. Also complain a lot.
Complain?
Yeah.
Those guys complain.
Yeah.
As if, what are you complaining about, bro? You've been through it already. Like, what's left?
I don't know.
You complain
but it's like known even in other countries that Polish people complain a lot. There is stereotype that Polish people also steal a lot, but it's just a stereotype. It's not true. Not more than other countries, probably.
Why would that be there would be lots of Polish immigrants throughout the rest of Europe.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
So perhaps that stealing stereotype is like an poor immigrant association.
Yeah, maybe, because I heard it from British people a lot. And there's a lot of Polish people that go there to make money, and maybe they rob also there. I don't know.
Perhaps. The British are like that. They complain.
Also.
Oh, they are so complaining, bro. But it's like light-hearted complaining, because maybe it's like the Polish. Maybe that's what gets you through 2 world wars, right?
Maybe.
You gotta complain to vent your frustration, otherwise.
Yeah, because then you spot some things that are maybe not that bad, but maybe you talk about it, and then some other people also notice it. And they're like, okay, maybe we should do something about it.
Survival mechanism. You complain, man, I'm cold. Yeah, me too. Where's the heating? Are we gonna die?
Yeah, it's something like this. Exactly.
The baby complains and you take it seriously because it's not whinging, it's unhealthy, right?
Yeah. If babies complain, it's like sometimes they have so little problems, but they cry about it a lot.
Yeah. The babies, I learned he's from 0 to 3 years old. a baby doesn't have emotional regulation,
Mm-hmm.
so the mother is literally its emotional state.
I heard about it. Yes. Yeah. So if you are close with your mother and your mother is like angry, you also feel angry. That's true.
How about that?
You're part of your own mother until you start to develop your own consciousness, I think.
Around 4 years old?
Yes.
There you go. We should be scientists, bro.
It's very interesting, actually.
I do find it very interesting. Have you been into like family psychology? That sounds like it.
But what do you mean, like my family or in general
In
psychology? Yeah, psychology in relationships. I'm very interested in psychology, actually.
Is that because of your upbringing?
Because of what?
Your upbringing.
Upbringing. What is that?
Upbringing is your raising as a child.
Maybe yes, because there is a big percentage of psychologists that wanted to just discover themselves and understand themselves more. That's why they study psychology. Am I this kind of person? Maybe, yes, I think so.
Me too. Are you also into philosophy by any chance?
I like to have philosophical thoughts, but I don't read like any philosophers actually. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like many people who had an interesting upbringing strive to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a friend who also had an interesting upbringing, and she's also super into psychology. She's also super into mental awareness,
Mm-hmm.
so to say. That's one of my interests as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that very fascinating. Do you read books on it, or are you kind of just very self-reflective?
About philosophy or
Psychology, philosophy.
Before I used to read a lot of books actually about psychology, about different things, different disorders, problems that people face, relationships as well. It was all very interesting to me. But I think many psychological books are based too much on some evidences, like scientific evidences, and sometimes it doesn't really correspond with the reality. And there are many theories on everything, and you don't know which is right, which is wrong. So I'm a bit skeptical sometimes to psychology. Yeah.
Like psychology, one person creates something and they write a book on it.
Mm-hmm.
So now psychology is this. But every human is so dynamic. One person's experience, and then they teach that as every human's experience. I feel like it's far too dynamic for one person to say what it is. Like,
Yeah, I think people are also very complex.
complex, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not so easy actually. I think psychology has a lot of things to discover in the future.
Yeah, and then we keep going back to these older sources of information that we're not discovering, we're not open-minded to perhaps new things. Like recently, your gut biome, the bacteria in your gut, actually influences your mental state.
I know it.
There you go.
You have to like be careful with what you eat also, because if you eat everyday fast food, it's like you're feeding the wrong bacteria in your guts, and then some wrong chemicals go to your blood, go to your brain, they mess up your neurons as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you eat healthy, you feed the bacteria that actually build more brain cells.
Mm.
Yeah.
So gut bacteria affects the building of brain cells.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. I would have never. All I heard was that they're just one system.
No. The fiber is very important in a human diet because it's the thing that feeds the bacteria the most. So the fruits, vegetables, has to be like the base of the human diet actually.
Because that's the base of gut health.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. And then the nervous system as well. What I read is that the nervous system, the mind, the emotional system, the hormonal system, and the gut health, it's all like a single system.
It's connected.
Like, not even connected. Like, we used to think that they are just different things, but now what's coming up in popular science, so to say, is that it's just one thing. it's not like connected.
Mm-hmm.
It is just
One thing.
single.
Oh, interesting.
It's like you look at a car and you study the rubber that is used to make the wheels and the glass that is used to make the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the car that powers it. So it's like that saying, an ancient philosopher would say, the window is up and the car goes. The window is down and the car still goes. So the window is not what makes the car go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
And you understand that it doesn't make too much sense because we're talking about a car and you're studying the position of a window.
Yeah, but it's the same. It is the same with the psychological issues, I think, because if you go to psychologists, you get maybe diagnosed on many different disorders,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very often also connected, and it's all just one trauma actually that is maybe inside your mind, right? And you have just different symptoms, and all the symptoms is like different ADHD, for example, or depression, right?
Man, I'm obviously stupid because I don't know and I'm speaking out of line. But is ADHD a real thing, or is it just a person who's naturally less focused and more energetic on what does not capture their interest? Like, I don't even, from everybody I've met who says ADHD, it's like, is it ADHD, or are you just less able to focus because your mind runs a little faster?
I think that's what it's about. If your mind runs much faster, you cannot focus, and at the same time you need to have a lot of energy. You need to do something all the time to stimulate your mind. And I don't know, because ADHD is a very difficult. People make a lot of different studies about it, and they don't know what is actually causing ADHD. There are many different theories about it, but I think it's a real thing actually.
Mm.
And I think that maybe internet can have something to do with it, like too much social media.
It's something that provokes your mind to be very racy.
Yeah, because to stay focused, you need to actually train your focus, and you do it through work. If you're a kid, you just play with other kids. But now kids spend more time in the internet, and they don't train the concentration as much. And then when they watch the cartoons, it's always very like intense, a lot of happening there. So they have a lot of stimulation, and then get used to it. And I think that's causing ADHD.
That must be, because ADHD is concentration.
Yes.
And
Concentration
personally,
problem.
through meditation, I've learned concentration. I've learned to focus and stop the thoughts that come to my head that distract me from the conversation I'm in. But if you've never practiced focus, if everything you consume is stimulation, how can you've never practiced paying attention because your mind is always away from you. You're never engaging with yourself.
Yes.
I find that.
But I think that's even the fact that you go to school or you work, it takes more energy. If you have ADHD and you go to work, it takes a lot of energy to stay concentrated.
It takes a lot of physical energy.
Yes, yes, exactly. And it's just, I think that thanks to the fact that we still work or go to school, meet with people, it's not that bad. If it was only internet, it would be much worse.
COVID.
Ah, yes.
I mean, COVID, what was that? 2020 to 2021 or two? That's 2 years. Now, how many people were in the most crucial phase of their development in 2 years that they missed out on? How long until we see so many fucked up kids that cannot focus on anything because they were raised on iPads, they were raised in isolation, they were never able to see their mothers smile in public at strangers, they don't know how to interact with people.
Yeah. Depression is a big thing in the young people.
Huge, man. I mean, interrupting, sorry, but in my high school, man, you could actually see as the kids got younger, them coming up with all this depression, anxiety. Like you could actually see it because I had Wi-Fi for my 10th birthday.
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Okay. This
Yep.
was your gift for your birthday?
It was because I wanted to play a game on my phone. It wasn't a phone, it was the iPod Touch.
Okay.
And I needed Wi-Fi to get like coins or something.
Oh.
It was whatever. And then you've got, I swear to God, they must be literally 1 year old and they're watching stimulating baby videos where there's a jump cut every 2 seconds and these kids are fucked. They're not having any input into their brain. It's just pure dopamine.
Yeah, they don't know anything else.
They don't know anything because their entire life is literally just these YouTube videos that just turn their brain on fire.
But I think human brain can also get it's called neuroplasticity.
Yes.
So if you are already 18 and you spend your whole life on internet, and then you have to start working because otherwise you wouldn't get money, and then you just don't have a choice. You start working, and then your brain is somehow changing a little bit,
Yes.
step by step.
And you will change and you will adapt because that is your situation.
Yes.
Or maybe you won't. Who knows? Maybe a child who never learned to focus, by the time they're 18, maybe they will literally never. Maybe
Yes, we'll find out in 10 years probably.
it's gonna be weird, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird. Like the older generation to us, they don't understand us.
Yeah, they already think that we are like internet
addicts.
Yes.
So imagine how bad it will be for us when we're 50 to the 10-year-olds. Because we grew up in a world without internet,
Yeah.
even if it was only the first 10 years for me. But those are formative years. Like my understanding of the world is people to people, physical hearing and seeing and experiencing. But these kids, their experience of the world will be on the screen. Or maybe not even screen, like Neuralink.
Yeah, their brain is not developed properly. I think the human like mind, human body, it's all very sensitive. If you don't live your life how you're supposed to by nature, so I don't know, go out for walks to the forest, mountains, work more, because by biology we're supposed to hunt for the animals, spend a lot of energy for that, to have a little bit of food. But now it's not happening, and I think it's very bad for mental health of people, especially if they face this since they're like 1 year old or something.
See videos on the internet of literal like babies who cannot walk using YouTube. Like they open the YouTube app and look at it because it's in exactly how you said. Think of humans, hunter gatherers, early humanity. As a man, you have two things. You have walk, run, fight, and socialize. What else exists? You wake up, you walk, you run, you kill, and then you socialize over the food.
Yeah, I found out recently, by the way, that it was always said that men were the ones that were hunting, and women were like when we were still cave people. Then the woman would just like prepare food and take care of the kids. But recently they found out that women actually also hunt, and they do it very good. Yeah.
Where did they find this evidence in the world?
Oh, I don't remember, to be honest, because I read it just quickly somewhere and didn't go too deep into that.
It could be very dependent on the environment. Maybe some areas the prey merited certain
of course.
different methods of community organization.
Yes.
Maybe.
It's very interesting.
But it is, man.
I bet people were much happier than when their life was so simple.
Right now, there's that tribe in Africa which has entered the culture recently. The hunter-gatherer tribe, the Hatsi or the. Have you seen any of those videos of that hunter-gatherer tribe in Africa that still lives like they did?
No.
So a guy went there and he talked to them. They are genuinely prehistoric lifestyle.
They're like living on the desert on the north of Africa, right?
I don't know if it's the north of Africa.
Okay.
Not the Berbers.
Okay.
Not
something
the Berbers.
else then.
The Hadzi tribe.
Okay,
The
I don't know
Hadzi
that.
tribe, it's a savannah tribe, and they still live like they did for all of humanity.
Hmm.
And then one guy was interviewing them and he was curious about their happiness. He literally went to this hunter-gatherer tribe to ask about happiness. You say
Okay.
they must be so happy. He says, he asked about the topic of suicide, and they didn't understand the concept of it.
Oh, really?
They didn't understand.
Wow.
They were like, that must be crazy. In America, people jump off buildings to kill themselves. They didn't exist. It didn't exist. So talk about happy. Humans are an animal. We're a literal animal.
Yeah.
This animal does walking, running, killing, and socializing with the other animal.
Yeah.
They must be happy, and they are. So then you take the human animal and remove those four aspects of what that animal does.
Hmm.
It's like a dog without exercise, right? It's a wolf in a zoo without its wolf pack. We're fucking insane. I
Yeah,
reckon.
it's a bit pointless, and you try to get a lot of money when you live in a city.
That's it.
But the things that you get for the money don't give you any happiness. So why are so many people chasing you, actually? A big mystery to me.
Man, well, I can speak from my personal experience. I'm chasing money because it gives me the freedom and security to then pursue my happiness.
Okay.
So if I have complete freedom and complete security, now I can do whatever I want. And if one day I see a very beautiful flower and I would like to have a garden of flowers, that would make me happy. And I would do
Okay.
that.
Nice.
It's necessary to have money. It would make me happy to eat all of the best food in the world because I love eating nice food.
Hmm.
So money brings, I say this as someone without money. What do I know?
I think if you want to feel better in terms of your ADHD and in general mental health, it's just important to um, do something out of internet in general. Go play football, go chill on the beach, or do something in the reality, and it will make you feel good.
And then some people must have a genuine chemical imbalance in their brain.
Oh yes.
But I mean, even that might have the ability to be trained.
Yeah, but then there is a question if the chemical imbalance is the reason why people feel depressed, or something else, or is it the or reason is something different, and this is just the outcome of it. I think that today is a very special day.
Special.
Yeah,
How so?
Easter.
Today,
Yeah,
Jesus.
rise up from the dead.
Okay.
Do you believe in that or not?
I wouldn't be so confident saying it didn't happen because I don't know. Could have. But I mean, am I going to take it at its word? Am I going to hear that story and say it happened? I don't know. Seems far-fetched.
From the history point of view, it's complicated because there are some evidences that Jesus existed, but it's not 100% sure.
No.
No.
Some people say it is 100% sure.
Yeah, some people say, but then there's 50-50, I would say. Some people don't believe that because the evidence is not so. The most important evidence is the Bible and similar books to the Bible connected to the church.
Mm.
So it's hard to say that it's real because maybe it was just all written by a human, right?
I think the oldest version of the Bible we have is from like the 1400s.
Okay.
So the oldest, I might be wrong, the oldest source of the Bible was a good 1,400 years after the event.
Oh yeah, so it's not very good, not very reliable.
Maybe it is reliable. Maybe they really kept it written down well, the priests were sacred over their interpretations.
Mhm.
Maybe the church adapted it how it needed to be adapted for its current needs. The church was once an empire. Not an empire, but
Still is.
still is.
I think it's one of the richest countries in the world right now, the Vatican.
And the Vatican, being a sovereign nation, does not need to declare any of its money. So the Nazis were putting money in the Vatican. That's a true fact.
Okay.
So who else?
But not now. They did that in like 100 years ago, right?
In Nazi times, the Nazis were working with Vatican banks. So if the Nazis were working with Vatican banks, who else?
Yeah, exactly.
And was it only then or today?
Yeah, you never know. I think it's probably very much of a lot of mafia in the Vatican.
Speaking of mafia in the Vatican, it's in Italy, bro. Like, that's mafia.
Yeah, for
like-
sure, for sure.
Yeah, man. And I mean, the Vatican is the organization that moved the priest who was molesting boys to a different place where he then molested deaf kids.
They did all the time something like this in Poland, actually.
In Poland?
Yes, it's a very big problem. Like I saw a map of Poland, and there was like causes where the kids were molested. It was like hundreds of it in the city.
That's insane.
The kids were molested, and then they moved the priest to another church. Hundreds of the cases in Poland.
Hundreds.
Yes.
So it's not just some bad actors who it's like
It's happening a lot. Yes.
that's insane, man.
Yeah, I think it's really bad.
So if those guys are doing that, what else are they doing?
And it's a big mystery to me. Why would you be a priest and do something like that? If you don't want to live your life in celibacy, just stop being a priest and go have sex with someone your age. Yes.
Or maybe, why would you be a priest if you're going to do something like that?
Exactly.
Or maybe, if you're going to do something like that, why wouldn't you become a priest? You know the organization's going
Oh
to
my
protect you.
god. So all the pedophiles are just becoming priests to not go to jail.
Not all the pedophiles are becoming priests not to go to jail,
Yeah.
but how many priests are pedophiles that are not going to jail?
A lot, yes.
Hundreds in Poland that have been reported. And then they get reported, so they move them to a different church.
Hmm.
No reports from there.
Yes.
Do you
It's,
think they stopped?
No. No, for sure not.
That's sickening, man.
And there are also some different problems, not only the
Pedophilia?
pedophilia, yeah. Like sometimes they do some exorcism on people and they involve too much, so they hurt people a lot.
How physically hurt?
Physically, yeah.
They burn their skin?
I think they hit them somehow
Mm.
to make the demons go away, but sometimes there are no demons and you're just hurting someone. And like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, shit, man, I wouldn't put anything past those guys. If you're taking Nazi money, in Australia it was a huge scandal because I think, again, I don't know the details, one of the top guys of the Vatican who was an Australian, I think he was the treasurer of Australia of the Vatican. We had our own scandal like that. He got caught touching boys, so they
Okay.
moved him, and now the whole of Australia is aware. And you know what the most insane part?
What?
How rich these guys are and how much land they own. Like, we will be walking in Sydney, and my dad's like, yeah, the Catholic Church owns the houses on that street. And that's just like,
Oh, so
normal-
they're very rich in there.
yeah, that's just normal residential real estate.
And the Australian government, is it like very supportive to the church or is it far from the church?
Good question. Australian culture is far from the church.
No, the government.
Yes. So the Australian government, made up of the Australian people, I believe, is largely represented by those who are not attached to the church. So we are not a religious nation. We are one of the less religious nations in the world. The government is not influenced openly by Catholicism. We don't make decisions regarding Catholic religion.
Okay.
But if you got that much money, they must have trillions. They must have trillions. The Catholic Church, they own all this land across the whole globe, and in every piece of land they put a church, they own money from the people that go to that church, and they own the fucking Vatican.
Yeah, you know how they say that devil spends a lot of time around the church and trying to make believers do wrong things
around the church.
Yes,
What
that's
about,
where his focus was.
The devil is focused around the church.
Yeah, that's what Christians say.
Not focused in the church, like the part where you rape little boys. Devil doesn't, not in the church, just outside.
No, I
Just
think it's
outside.
part of it.
Yeah.
They steal the money, so they do wrong things. They know that it's wrong, but they still do it.
Like touching little boys.
Yes.
I just love that so much.
You
Outside
love
the
touching
church.
little boys.
No. Favorite. That's just such a cheeky way to say it. The devil is outside the church trying to make you do bad things.
Yeah.
They are. Makes me sick, man. In the church, bro, the trillionaire church. These guys have a prime real estate. I was in Mexico City. In the center of the city, in the center, a big piece of land with an immense cathedral on it filled with priceless art and gold, the real estate alone. So people go there and you have a box asking for donations, and you have old ladies who have never stopped working in their whole life. They can't even walk properly. They walk past that box and put in 10 pesos, the price of a taco. That Catholic church with its priceless art overlooking this box of that little lady who gave her 20 pesos, 10 pesos. Is it not supposed to be the other way around?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If they're poor, there are so many poor people in the world, and church is supposed to be the first organization that gives money to those people.
And they're the first one taking it aside from the government.
Yes. It's a big mystery to me. Why is it like this?
I lost a lot of faith in the institution of the Catholic Church because it was like feed the poor, you give alms to the needy. It's literally the opposite of what I saw, and I was so impressed by the immense church. And just to see that old lady giving back them money, it's like, do you walk around the street as a rich man and like ask people to buy your meal?
No, it's nonsense.
You offer food to the people who are hungry if you can afford it. You're not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's a shame. I used to juggle at traffic lights. I had a little phase where I would go with my friends to traffic lights and we would juggle for money.
Yeah, that's cool.
You go there, red light, you juggle, and then you just walk down the cars, and if someone gives you a coin, you say thank you.
Did you do it with like special cream on your face and an outfit?
No, just sun cream.
Okay.
Just regular clothing.
I know some people do it and they dress somehow funny to make
I met a guy who did that, yeah. So the concept of it, you go, you do your routine, and some people give you money. I had a friend who I lived with who was extremely fully Catholic. Fully Catholic. He would show me TikTok videos of ghosts to prove that Catholicism is real. So
TikTok, the most reliable source.
So it's real. Look at this video. So he took me to the Catholic Church here, and I was very excited. I was like, what kind of community are they fostering here? I would love to meet the people. So you go there, you sit down, they do a 30-minute ritual, they pass around the money bag, and then if you want, the priest will give you wine and bread, and then you leave. And they do that maybe 4 times in the morning, maybe 3 times at night, 7 days a week. I thought Catholicism was a Sunday morning thing. Okay. And then it turns out that they're just cycling people 4 times every hour, every day, every single one of those people giving money. That's what I did.
Oh, it's fucked up, I think.
Why
would you need so much money? You don't even need that.
You've already got the money.
Yes.
You've already owned the land, you already have the building, you already have the art. But it's like, I thought, the impression I had going in was I'd go there, it would be a holy place of a holy community of good people who were there with each other. But nobody looks at each other. You go in, you sit down for an hour, you give your donation and you leave. And they just cycle through people. That's what I was doing with juggling. I would go there, I would do a routine, I'd get money, they'd leave, and I'd do it again. Where was the holiness?
Yeah, when I read the Bible before, and the priests were actually the ones that killed Jesus when he died, right? The priests didn't like him, that he wanted to revolutionize the church. He did many controversial things. And now I think if Jesus would come now instead of then, they would do the same.
They would kill him again.
He would show them that what they do is wrong, and they wouldn't like it probably.
Jesus would say molesting little boys is bad, and then they would have him fall out of a building or drown in a pool or something, I reckon.
Yes.
Jesus dies by accident suicide in a 3-foot pool. Jesus dies by suicide by 2 gunshots to the head. Those are all real suicide cases.
And then he rises from death, and then they're like, oops.
Shit, Christianity V2.
Yeah.
Now we're back for real. He was right all along.
Do you think he would forgive people that did that?
Jesus, as he was carrying the cross to his crucifixion, says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Ah, right. That's true.
Jesus, the Christians, as they were being tortured for being Christian, would cry and pray for the people torturing them.
Ah, yes.
I think Jesus would be very forgiving.
It's very beautiful, but also I think it's very hard to forgive sometimes some difficult things.
Yes.
We're not Jesus, but we still need to do it, because if we don't forgive to other people, it's just poisoning our own minds. Actually.
Yes, I think that's the concept. I think our minds are connected. So if you do not forgive another person, truthfully, you are not forgiving yourself. If something that someone does annoys you, it's reflecting an insecurity of yourself.
Ah, yes.
For example, I used to be very loud and speak a lot. And then I went through a phase, I wasn't aware I was in the phase, where I would become annoyed by people who would speak too loud.
Okay.
That was just me.
Yeah, I heard that reality is just a mirror, actually. Teaches you something about yourself. Something bad happens to you, and you're angry with the world, with the situation, with life, with the people. But it's just showing you something about yourself. And usually it's not like everything is bad and the whole world is destroyed and you're just very unhappy because of that. Just some difficulty that you can face, and then learn something from it. Be different.
I agree with that. It's like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
Let's call it there anyway, because it's getting a bit noisy. It's getting a bit hard to focus.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.